stay indoors. If you are outdoors, seek immediate shelter in a building.
A false alert about a missile heading straight for Hawaii sends people running for cover. And now there's outrage over how such a huge mistake could even happen. Good evening, I'm Greg Copeland. By now you've likely heard about the terrifying moments in paradise today. People in Hawaii received a false alert that a ballistic missile was headed their way. Now it was a mistake, but it caused a widespread panic. Here's a look at the scene at the University of Hawaii today. You see people running there. It took almost 40 minutes before the public was told that it was a mistake and then everything was okay. Officials say that mistake happened when state employees were changing shifts and somebody accidentally pressed a button. Still trying to figure out how that works. But that sent this emergency alert to cell phones. It read, ballistic missile threat inbound to Hawaii. Seek immediate shelter. This is not a drill, end quote. The people watching TV also received this warning.
The U.S. Pacific Command has detected a missile threat to Hawaii. A missile may impact on land or sea within minutes. This is not a drill.
Now, can you imagine? People were told to stay indoors, or for those outside, immediately get inside a building. Here they pulled off manhole covers and kids actually climbed down into sewers. This afternoon, Hawaii's governor, David Ige, apologized.
I'm too very angry and disappointed that this happened. We are doing everything that we can immediately to ensure that it never happens again.
U.S. Senator Brian Schatz of Hawaii says what happened today was, quote, totally inexcusable. Now, Hawaii's emergency management agency says changes are being made to prevent another false alarm like what happened today. When the alert went out in Hawaii, a lot of people grabbed phones and called loved ones all around the country. And the phones in our newsroom were ringing off the hook with terrified people trying to find out any information. King 5's Amy Moreno has more on what it was like for local families with loved ones in Hawaii.
There's no doubt the phrase parents' worst nightmare is overused. But if something did qualify, it might be this.
I got a call from my daughter and she said, Mom, there's been an alert on our phone that says there's ballistic missiles heading towards Hawaii. And this is not a drill, this is real.
Those words put Tacoma mom Lori Mack in a near panic.
I think my heart was racing. I can imagine some people that possibly could have had a heart attack, thinking this is it.
In addition to Mack's daughter, her husband is currently in Hawaii for work.
I told her I loved her. And I said, is your dad there? I said, I wanted to talk to him.
They said the important words that needed to be said and then got off the phone so the two who were in Honolulu could try to figure out what's next. We talked to her daughter, Andrea, via Skype.
It was a very odd feeling when you look at your parent and say, are we going to be okay? Is this it? Or are we going to die? And he kind of shrugs and says, I don't know.
As the minutes went by, their anxiety grew.
We're pacing throughout the house thinking, we don't have any details. Is it nuclear? Is it how far off are we?
Outside, the scene was chaotic. While some panicked, Max says one man told her he wasn't going to take shelter.
He wasn't too concerned, but he said, I hope if this happens, I just vaporize. And it was one of those things where you laugh, but you're also like, that's terrifying.
After an agonizing half hour, they learned it was a false alarm. Andrea called her mom with the news.
It was scary. That I think about it, I finally calmed down.
It was a stressful experience, but both mother and daughter said it opened their eyes that they need to be ready. Next time she goes to see her daughter, Lori says she'll add something else to her sightseeing.
I'm going to check out where those bunkers are.
Amy Moreno, King 5 News.
Now, one of King 5's anchors just landed in Honolulu, filed this report.
So Lori Matsukawa here at Honolulu International Airport. And Chrissy, what happened when you heard this alarm this morning?
Well, I was trying to get ready for work, and then...
And what happened? Did you get a notice on your phone?
Actually, it was on TV. I wasn't paying attention, but I heard that siren, that warning sound, and then I just looked and I was wondering what was that about, and then I just ignored it, and then so my sister was calling me on my cell phone, and I checked it, and she said something like, "Oh, Chris, don't go to work. There's something nuclear alarm." Yeah. And then so I called her back, and then she was talking to my mom, and then she told me, "Oh no, it was a false alarm. Never mind." She's telling me go to work.
Wow, that must have been kind of scary, right?
Oh yes, yeah, it was. I was just, oh my goodness, what?
Well, I'm glad you're at work and I'm glad you're
Yes,
okay.
I'm glad too. Yes.
Back to you.
Please report to the lobby to receive direction to the basement.
So that is some video from the assistant news director of our Houston sister station who was vacationing in Maui when the alert came down. John Hubbard says the response was worse than what he experienced during Hurricane Harvey. We talked to him today on Skype.
He didn't really have a plan at that point. And then about 5 minutes later, they go on the big speaker, the fire alarm speaker, and say, everyone please evacuate into the basement of the building. Please come down to the lobby, it will take you to the basement of the building. So at that point, we start gathering our stuff. And I have the TV on, and I'm on Twitter because I'm looking for all the reliable sources that say, yes, it's happening, no, it's not happening. And so we were just about to leave, and then I see on Twitter from Hawaii Emergency Management that this is a drill. And at that point, there's a lot of relief, but there's just so much anxiety that had happened over the last, 15, 20 minutes, not knowing what's going on. And, you go to Hawaii and you're close to North Korea, the place with the biggest threat, but you would never think that anything like this would happen. So it was just a wild start to the day and certainly very chaotic. I think there was a mix of like, oh, I don't believe this, to, yeah, this is the real deal. And I saw people running outside. I saw people, on their balcony, like, and we were chatting with them, like, is this the real thing? Have you heard anything? And so it was chaotic for sure. I think people were certainly concerned for their safety, especially when you see the ballistic missile in a emergency alert. So it was all over the place. And watching on the news, I people were running from the beaches and running to take care of their families. There were some people in the lobby who were frustrated with the hotel. I think the hotel didn't know what was going on either, and it all came from a test. I don't think they did anything wrong. I just think there was frustrations boiling over. So people were had the voices raised a little bit, and it was definitely a chaotic scene, in a place that's usually very peaceful.
Now, even though Hawaii is more than 2,500 miles away, thousands of people in Washington have a close connection to the islands. King 5 received more than 24 calls from people concerned about friends or family who are either visiting Hawaii or who live there. According to U.S. Census statistics, Native Hawaiians and other Pacific Islanders make up less than 1% of Washington's population. That works out to about 59,000 people out of the more than 7.4 million people in this state.